Hello there, it's me again, and I'm going to be talking about muscles today, but what muscles? Skeletal muscles, cardiac muscles, or smooth muscles? There's three types, and skeletal muscles are generally the ones we talk about when we talk about muscles. These are on our bones. There are other muscles, the cardiac muscles, those are in the heart, and there's also smooth muscles. Those include places like the stomach. These three types of muscles, without even one of them, you would die. Okay, now we're talking about skeletal muscles today because that's the title. This is a muscle right here. It's someone flexing their bicep. And I've gone ahead and drawn a few things. This is the actual muscle. We can see that there's lots and lots of tubes in there. And if we were to cut it open with a knife, this is what we would see. I've gone ahead and drawn some things. So this is the inside of the muscle. This outside covering here, this is called the epimysium. And it is what covers all these little tubes called fascicles. And these fascicles are covered in this connective tissue. It's called perimysium. And the fascicle tubes are just covered in perimysium. This is perimysium. It lines the tubes and it lines the outside. All of this, everything what you see in yellow is perimysium. This is the fascicle right here. What if we were to zoom in on this fascicle? What would we see? We would see this. So here's our fascicle, and we see, of course, even smaller tubes inside the fascicle. It's just like a tube that's been cut open and revealing other tubes. This is the perimysium, what we saw. It lines it. It's a connective tissue. It keeps them all together. These tubes are just like fascicles, except they're called myofibers, and they are lined with this stuff called endomysium. Endomysium is just like perimysium, except it's on a smaller scale. It's lining the myofibers, just like the perimysium lines the fascicles. If we were to take one of these, and we zoomed in on it, this is what we would get. This is the actual muscle cell. We're not going that in-depth on this video. So since the myofiber cell is so long, because it's a tube, it has multiple nuclei. These myofibers, they can be anywhere from a couple hundred micrometers to a couple centimeters long. That is one long cell. So that's why it has to have multiple nuclei, so it can transport proteins easier and faster instead of waiting for just one nucleus. Pass proteins all the way down. So that's why it has multiple nuclei. So if you had X-ray vision, you would see these, but you know what else you would see? You would see even more tubes. So we're not going to get into these tubes very much, but they're actually called myofibrils. And basically what they are is, it's where the actin and myosin live. The actin is these yellow squiggly lines I'm drawing, and the myosin would be here, and it would walk along, and if it makes any sense to you, its little feet, they would walk along there, and basically what it would do is it would pull it together, pull these together and create traction. I will talk about this more in depth in a future video, how they create traction, and that's pretty much all on the basic structure of a muscle.